Hey, come here. I want to tell you something. Nah, for real. Come here. I got something to tell you. What if I told you that I got my start working on Broadway in theater by taking a job that only paid me $12 an hour, not at the beginning of my career, but in the middle of my career, actually after I finished working a show where I was making six figures? Yeah, what if I told you that? Would you believe me? What if I told you that that show that got canceled was on one of the largest television networks that we know today? What if I told you that I took that $12 an hour job after I had just finished traveling the country, traveling different countries with one of the top comedic actresses? What if I told you I took that $12 an hour job and everybody looked at me crazy? And what if I told you that $12 an hour job that everybody looked at me like I was crazy got me right here working on Broadway shows? I don't think you would believe me. If you're new here, I'm Tish Ferguson. Welcome to my channel. I am a traveling full-time makeup artist. I've worked in television, I've worked in film, and I now get the pleasure of traveling the country with a Broadway touring company. I not only do that, but I am also a makeup designer for a Tony Award winning Best Musical. And I know a little bit about taking a chance on myself. So I'm actually about to put up my Christmas tree. We are here in LA. And while I put up this Christmas tree, I just wanted to give you a little bit of story time about how I took a chance on myself and took a chance on basically the nudge that God gave me to take a job that was only paying $12 an hour, that gave me my start in theater. If you want to know how I did it, how I took these steps, stick around. But also, I'm putting together my Christmas tree. You putting together your Christmas tree? What's your Christmas tree look like? Let me know in the comments what colors you're using, what's your little theme, what's going on. But like, let's chat. Come on. We're gonna talk a little bit because I want you to bet on yourself. And when you know that something is right for you, I want you to be able to push and do that. And sometimes other people have to share their testimony so that we can start taking more chances on ourselves. So we about to get this Christmas tree going, and I'm gonna talk to you about that $12 an hour job that everybody thought I was crazy for taking. All right, listen up. I went to sleep last night. I didn't put the Christmas tree up. We are going to attempt to put the Christmas tree up tonight, but I am about to head to a coffee shop. We are in LA. Remember I told you about a job that got me to this place that I'm at where I'm traveling full time in different cities? Well, we're currently in LA for 9 weeks. This is week 2, and I'm staying in North Hollywood, and I'm like, I gotta check out my neighborhood. So I got some editing to do on some vlogs that I'm bringing out for you, and I want to check out a coffee shop before I have to go into the theater. So just to like fast forward, back it up, I don't know, rewind. But the way my life is set up is that I work Tuesday through Sunday. Monday is our day off. I work on a traditional theater schedule. So all my theater girlies, my theater people, let me know who you are in the comments. I want to say hi. Hey, boo. We work 6 days a week, okay? We only have one day off. But the great thing about it is that the daytime, Tuesday through Friday, daytimes feel like I'm a housewife. So I run my entrepreneurial endeavors during the day, and then at night, I head to the theater. I got to get to the theater around 6 o'clock. We do something called presets, continuity hour. Let me know in the comments if you even know what I'm talking about and if you want to know more about theater verbiage. But we do that, and then showtime is 7:30. The curtain goes up at 7:30. At 7 o'clock, I get Alphaba Green, and then we run the show, and I do all the things. And then I go home, and I get home probably about like 11:30, and then I have a whole like nighttime routine. If you want to know more about that, let me know in the comments. If you work in theater, do you have a nighttime routine? And what time do you get to bed? Because your girl don't get to bed till about 2 a.m. on a good night. Yeah, our lives are crazy. So in my daytimes, I try to explore the city that I'm in. So I want to bring y'all more content of me exploring the city that I'm in, because I am just so grateful for this opportunity. Me being able to work this job. Oh, I'll tell you what the job is before we get to the coffee shop. I worked a regional production of Hairspray as the hair and makeup supervisor of that regional production for a summer. It was crazy because I asked God for an opportunity in theater for years. It was something I've always wanted to do. When I was even a kid, I had tried out for Peter Pan. I think it was my 7th grade year, but I had to choose between being a cheerleader or being a thespian. And so I chose cheerleading because I was cheering since I was 9 years old, competitive cheerleader. So cheerleading was my first love. So I always felt like I missed the boat. But then it came up in my prayers, and then I get this opportunity, and y'all, it was only paying $12 an hour. But I had rent to pay because I was just on a show that got canceled, that wasn't coming back, and no other job in sight, okay? I'm talking, I not only had that job with BET, but some of my clients at the time were MTV, VH1. I was doing ad campaigns and commercials for VaynerMedia, which is Gary Vaynerchuk's media company. I was traveling doing destination weddings, traveling all over the world doing destination weddings. I was sought after and making really good money as well. But if you are a freelancing makeup artist, hairstylist, or anything, you know, my mentor, Morel Hollis, said, you rich one day, you poor the next. And that is very much the case in this world. If things are not flowing the way that you would like, or you're not able to manage your money in the way that you would like. And when you are first starting off, you are very much in situations where you are rich one day and poor the next. So that was one of the situations that I was in. This was probably about year 7 of my career. I've been doing makeup for about 15 years. And I was stuck. I didn't know how my rent was going to be paid. I was living in Brooklyn, and if you know Brooklyn, you know that the rent is wild. I was living in Crown Heights, which was being newly gentrified, and so my rent reflected that, and I had to figure it out. And I prayed for something that would just cover the rent. And then someone called me and said that this regional production is looking for someone, and because you have a background in sketch comedy, which was the show that I was working on prior, they felt that I was a good fit even though I did not have theater experience. So I know y'all already know I said yes, but I'm gonna go to this coffee shop and then I'm gonna let y'all know why I said yes. And how everybody was looking at me crazy, and I was trying to get people to work with me, and nobody wanted to work with me. And now, I don't really need nobody to work with me. I'll see you at the coffee shop. But wait. Before we get to the coffee shop, I just want to leave you with this question. I want you to meditate on what is it that you want to do that everybody's looking at you like you are absolutely insane. And a part of you doesn't want to go and do it because you're afraid of how you may look. Whatever that is, write it down on a piece of paper and meditate on that. Pray on that. And see what the word that you get, because I guarantee you the word is to move forward. All right, we out. Bye. What up? So I told you a little $12 an hour job got me into theater. The kicker is this $12 an hour job didn't come at the beginning of my career. This came in the middle of my career when I had just finished being the makeup and hair department head for a show called The Rundown with Robin Thede. This was on BET. This was a contract that I was on for about a year and a half. So for this year and a half, I was accustomed to making a certain type of money. If you work in television, you know that the money can be long in television if you are on a show that operates every week. This was a live show. I got a paycheck every week. And not only that, I was still her personal makeup artist, so I was doing all of the press that she had to do. So I was getting checks from doing press tours as well. So when the show got canceled, I was devastated. Hold on, I gotta fluff this tree. I'm trying to tell y'all this story, but I gotta get this tree done too. So I was finally a six-figure artist. At the time, it didn't really feel like it because I wasn't that great at managing my money. When you're a freelancer for a long time, you're used to being rich one day and poor the next. So I was balling, but didn't really understand how to manage my money. And let me know in the comments if you're a freelancer and want to talk more about like making money in abundance and what that looks like. So yeah, back to story time. So I was living in Brooklyn. I had a roommate in Brooklyn. The part of my rent, looking back, now that I think about it, it wasn't that much money, but it was a lot of money for what I was getting. I was in some like box apartment and had a roommate in Crown Heights. I personally prayed for a job that was going to sustain me and be able to pay my rent. I'm not really sure which came first because I used to teach at the New School of Drama. So I'm not sure if somebody at the New School of Drama recommended me for this theater gig because I was teaching. Yes, that's what it was. So one of the things that I did while I had some downtime from the rundown, waiting for them to see if they were going to greenlight the show, I took on an artisan job at a school called the New School of Drama, which is also formerly known as Parsons. And I was working with their opera program, helping design hair and makeup. I took that job because I'm a teacher at heart. I love to teach. So I took that job to give back. Little did I know that someone that was there was going to recommend me in a time where I didn't know where my next check was coming from, recommended me for this gig. Now, what I could have done was said, this not making me enough money, I'm not doing this. Like, that's not what I'm doing. Like, what the ego will tell you is, I just came from making 6 figures, and you mean to tell me that this job is only offering 12 and you think I'm supposed to take that? You think that's what I'm supposed to be doing? But who am I to tell God what I'm supposed to be doing? So I sat down with God and said, if this comes up to exactly what I need for rent, then I'll take it. I didn't know it was $12 an hour at the moment when I went to go interview. I knew it was low, but I didn't know it was $12. I go for the interview for the gig. I get the job on the spot, and she tells me how much the wage is and if I'm gonna take it. And I told her I would go home and I would think about it, and I sent her an email. And when I did the numbers, it was exactly what I needed for rent. So this is the first lesson. Ask for exactly what you want, because God gonna give it to you. I feel like in that ask, I asked for exactly what I needed. I didn't ask for what I wanted. So while I had my bills paid that summer, I didn't have any extra money for any extracurricular activities. And I truly believe that if I would have asked over and beyond, because God wants to do exceedingly abundantly above all, that I would have received more than what I needed. So there was the lesson in that. The other lesson was that God delivers. God delivers. Another lesson was that skills are transferable. Because I worked in sketch comedy, no, I didn't have any theater training, but because I worked in sketch comedy and I knew how to design characters, I got hired for this job. But then the next lesson is that there are some jobs that you're gonna get in your career that may be paying less, but it's paying you something and it's teaching you something. It's on the job training. This was on the job training for my future. So the biggest thing for me, which I'm gonna fluff out this tree and then I'm gonna get back to y'all. But the biggest thing for me is that I saw this as an opportunity of growth. You might be wondering how. So to learn a new landscape of a part of the industry that I always wanted to be in, but I was not aware of how it worked, this was a prime opportunity for me to take. What's funny to me though, and this ain't really like a jab at nobody, but there was times that I needed coverage this summer when I was working that job. There was times that they were allowing me to bring somebody in to train. And out of the people that would take my big jobs when I would call them, when I said, oh, I got this $500 job real quick, I got this $1,000 job real quick, they took those jobs. But when I called them for this and even pitched them on what I was seeing, what my vision was, what they were gonna get from this, they said no. And I just wanna sit with that real quick. They said no, because I often, when those same people say how proud they are of me or how cool my new position is, like, I wanted to take you with me. So another lesson is that you can't take everybody with you. And don't be that person that is seeing everything from their ego and not seeing things from a bigger vision and from God's vision, that you turn down the hand that's trying to feed you. Many have turned down my hand, and now they're still asking for more.
Starting route to Pantages Theater.
So I had to interrupt my Christmas decorating for me to head to work. It get dark so early. It feel like it's 10 o'clock at night. I'm driving through North Hollywood, but I wanted to get to this next point while I was driving to work.
At the next light, take a slight right turn.
Okay, thank you. I just want to emphasize how deep this pivot was from making six figures to taking a $12 an hour job. Let me just tell you where this ended me up at. So basically, I took this job. I did this job for one summer, and then maybe
At the light, use the right 2 lanes to take a slight right turn onto Vineland Avenue.
So maybe about 2 months later, 2 or 3 months later, I ended up continuing to work with the New School of Drama. They have moved me from their opera program to their drama program, which was like a big thing because now I was spreading out amongst the school. Then that particular school allowed me to create a program called Beauty in Diversity. And I was able to teach about behind the scenes of theater and just the business as a person of color, and how to help people navigate that landscape as a person of color or as someone in leadership or managerial position or a colleague working with people who are of color if you are not of color, and what to expect, what verbiage to use, how to be empathetic and sensitive to certain topics that only involve or affect people of color. So I was able to create that program. That program, fast forward, led me to creating a program at another university, Pace University, far down the line of my theater endeavors. But just to backtrack a little bit, I created that program, and then my name was put on the table for Lion King on Broadway as a swing. At the time, I had no experience in body paint. All I did was beauty work. I did a little bit of special effects. At the time, I had got asked to be in the union, so I had basic knowledge, but that's not what my expertise was. Elizabeth, she then, who is the makeup supervisor at Lion King, who has been the makeup supervisor since day one on Broadway, she asked me if I had any experience in body paint, and with my whole chest and with complete honesty and integrity, I said no. But if you have the bandwidth to teach me, I will learn every single thing that you need me to learn in this 1 week. And baby, okay, she gave me a chance because number one,
in 3/4 mile, turn right to merge onto US 101 South toward Los Angeles.
she not only gave me a chance because I was able to position myself for that, but she was a leader that was able to also see how one attribute or one skill set could translate into another. She was very good at that, and that's something that I think is very important as a leader, for you to find great talent, not just good talent, because sometimes the talent in the room may have not gotten the opportunity to do what it is that you're asking them to do, but it doesn't mean that they cannot do it, right? So she gave me a chance. I had a week of training to learn that track. I did Rafiki, Mufasa, and Big Simba. I also worked with the ensemble doing quick changes and things, and I got that in a week. Fast forward, I was only with Lion King for a couple of months before I interviewed for the makeup supervisor for Beetlejuice on Broadway for their 2.0. And then I did a year of that and moved on to associate makeup designer of the Beetlejuice tour. And then I moved on to being the makeup designer for The Outsiders at La Jolla Playhouse. Then I went on to being the makeup supervisor for the Wicked National Tour. And then I moved on over to Broadway as the makeup designer for the Tony Award winning musical of The Outsiders. My 9 to 5 is the Wicked National Tour. That is what I was able to land as a result of my tenacity and never giving up. And to think that that $12 an hour job is what landed me here is pretty wild. So I'm gonna wrap this up when I'm finishing up the Christmas tree, but I just had to tell y'all about the sequence of events while I was driving into work, because it is pretty miraculous. This is what I mean by making sure that you add up all the little miracles, because if it wasn't for all the little miracles, this big miracle wouldn't have happened. So, yep, that's where we're at. I'll see you in the next clip.